Hey witches, welcome back to the channel. Once again, this is Hectarios, Witch of the Realms. For this video, we're going to be going into our dark moon / new moon reading for August 8th. However, this reading will also be sort of a weekly reading in the sense that we also have the sacred days to Hecate, August 10th through the 13th. And then August 13th is also a sacred day to Goddess Diana as well. If we look in the Witch's Almanac, I can show you guys what I'm talking about here. This is always such a magical time. So if you have been feeling the energies of Goddess Hecate coming around, or if she's been giving you her signs and dreams or anything like that, this is largely the reason why with that. The energies of August 10th through the 13th are very strong for connecting with Goddess Hecate in particular. I've been having dreams and, you know, certain signs and omens from her lately in the build up to this. Let me go ahead and do some Palo Santo real quick. With this dark moon in particular, I'm really getting a strong cleansing energy, purging energy. This dark moon has a dark side because I feel like shadow work has been a very has very much been a focus, I feel, during the past several months. I don't know why that is or what's up with that, but I definitely feel like that has been the case. And with this dark moon, and even with the last reading I did about cleansing and releasing toxic emotion and all of that, I feel like this dark moon is just further carrying forward with that energy. I guess a lot of it could be due to everything that's been happening with the pandemic and all of that. And coming out of that, I feel like there's a lot of things that we need to address within ourselves, within our society, within our communities, and things like that. And I feel like maybe that's why shadow work has been so highlighted. But definitely with this dark moon, I feel that it is a further continuation of that for sure. There could be a lot of confrontational energy in the sense of, you know, shadow work does have a dark side and a light side, because if you don't do shadow work, if you resist it, if you repress your shadow, you can allow that toxicity to come out in ways that you don't necessarily intend it, projecting onto others, things like that. I feel, especially, I mean, even if you just look at the sort of this level of hate and conflict between even just the ideas of the vaccines for the pandemic and wearing masks and all of that type of stuff, this level of enmity between people over issues like this, I feel is very much a further projection of the energy that I'm talking about here. So, not to make this video about that, and please don't argue about that stuff in the comments, that's not what my channel is for, but I feel like that is a further expression of the energy that I'm talking about here. This level of needing to do shadow work for each of us, but also for our society, for our communities at large. And how if we fail to do that, it turns into these darker things that, you know, is really good for no one. So that necessitates that we do shadow work, right? With this dark moon in particular, I'm really feeling that energy coming to the surface yet again. I feel like there's a chance or a possibility that you could be under some sort of attack or being confronted with other people's repressed shadows. I'll say it like that. So this would be a great time to do protection. This would be a great time to do cleansing, purging, healing in that regard, in that protective regard. Anything along those lines to keep yourself cleansed of the energy that other people project onto us. Okay? That's largely what I'm feeling with this. Let's go ahead and look at the astrology. And please remember, I do intuitive, sidereal Vedic astrology. Okay, I'm not an astrology expert, I'm not an astrologist, and I do not practice Western tropical astrology. I just sort of look at the astrology and I tell you what I'm psychically, energetically feeling from it, right? We can see that we are at another transition phase, just like last time, right? The moon and the sun are both, right at the doorstep of transitioning into Leo. And then inside of Leo, we have Mercury and Mars and Venus as well. So yeah, we can see that we have Venus, Mercury, Mars already present in Leo, and we have the sun getting ready to transition into Leo, and the new moon is also conjunct the sun. Every month, the new moon conjuncts the sun, right? So that's what we have going. There's a lot of energy focused in Leo, and we all know Leo is self-identity, the projection, I should say, more so the way we project ourselves, the way we express our self-image and our personality. The Leo constellation is ruled by the sun, so it's sort of that self-expression, that self-identity, that self-image, and the way that we present to others. And because of that, it sort of is associated with ego, not necessarily saying that in a negative sense. Our ego is a vital part of our personality, but it is associated with that energy of ego and how that can be a positive thing or a negative thing depending on how we use it, right? So I feel like that relates to what I was talking about of this sort of confrontational energy almost that I'm feeling with this dark moon, that people can be projecting things onto you in that regard. So be careful with that, be wary of that, and protect yourself from it. With Mercury being present, I also feel like that's tying into what I'm saying. Mercury's the communication aspect. So in the negative sense, that could also be manifesting as confrontation. We have Mars present. We know that Mars rules over passion, and that can be, once again, in the negative or the positive sense. It can be anger, it can be rage, it can be, things like that, but it could also be things that drive our ambition and things like that as well, just passion. And with Venus there, that sort of gives me a little bit of hope with this energy, because Venus is very much, love and that emotional connection with others. So actually seeing Venus and Mercury here, I feel brings a lot of light to this energy. And that is one thing I should have said at the beginning of this as well. I feel like a lot of this, well, I sort of did say this, a lot of this is necessary. Shadow work is a necessary thing. So, it's just in how we deal with it and how others deal with it, and how we deal with others who maybe aren't so good at dealing with it. So, our reactions, we can temper our reactions to sort of try to disarm these sort of confrontational situations when they come up. Yeah, that's the astrology. I feel like it very much lends to what I'm feeling psychically. And we will go ahead and do the Star Spinner Tarot, and I will do a Fairy Oracle card as well for this reading. Now I align myself with the Most High God and the Holy Spirit Hecate. Please communicate with these cards so that I may be guided for the highest good of all. Thank you, and so mote it be. Please give us your divine guidance for this dark moon, new moon, and leading into the sacred days of Hecate, August 10th through 13th, and the sacred day of Diana, August 13th. What do we need to know or do at this time? Is there any message you can give us? Please tell us the truth now. Thank you, and so let it be. The first card, we have the Five of Chalices. This is an interesting card to come up. This is very much that sort of dark emotional energy. This can manifest as bitterness, depression, sadness over something lost, or a feeling that something has been lost, whether if that's even true or not. I love this, the way that they symbolized it in this card, because it almost is like this tidal wave of this darker emotion sort of overwhelms you, or it can if we let it, right? There's always the possibility to rise above it. It's all in where we put our focus, and a lot of it has to do with how we frame things, how we choose to look at things. Because with the Five of Chalices, that's what the message of this card is. It's, you know, you're choosing or focusing to look at things in a certain way, or focus only on certain things. But in doing that, you are missing your blessings. You're not paying attention to what you have to be happy for. You're focusing on the wrong things. So that's the message of this card. It's, you know, pay attention to where we put our focus and for how long. I'm not saying that looking at negative things, you know, is bad, but obviously you don't want to stay in that place, right? Grief and mourning are valid, but, you know, we don't want to live there, live our whole lives from that place. There are things that we can find joy in, happiness, fulfillment, and we don't need to ignore those things because they are there. With the Five of Chalices, you know, there is things in your life that you should be thankful for, that give you joy, that give you happiness, and, you know, all of that is there. So this card is just basically saying, focus on that. Release this toxic energy, whatever it is. We have the Fool next, very much aligned with that Mercury placement, because the Fool is new beginnings, new adventures, a fresh start, starting over even. So it could be something new altogether, but it could be something that you're just looking at with fresh eyes. The Fool is an energy of hopefulness, excitement, almost this sort of carefree, just joy. This is what we can move into if we let go of this dark energy, right? A lot of times in the imagery of the Fool card, we see him carrying this little, like, I don't even know what you call that, the stick with the little bag tied onto it with, you know, just your necessities. This is what we can be if we let go of all of the baggage, right? And we just take what we need and leave everything else behind. It's almost this energy of just faith also. Faith doesn't have to be faith in a higher power even. It could just be faith in yourself. Faith in the path that you're walking and where it's leading you. And the final card of the tarot is the Six of Wands. Look at this beautiful card. I love this. Isn't that just gorgeous? The Six of Wands. Sorry, I had to have a moment of admiring that. I'm still getting accustomed to this deck. The Six of Wands is the card of victory. It's the card of success. It's the card of overcoming things, coming out on top. It's the card of blessings. With the Six of Wands, there is a sense of accomplishment, that you have succeeded in something. The sort of reward that comes with that, the blessings that come along with that. There's always some sort of spoils and reward when we attain victory in some sense. And that's what this card is, you know, here to say. But it's also about sharing those things, sharing our success and the fruits of our success, sharing our blessings with those who have helped us along the way in some way or form, with everyone who has supported us. No one attains victory on their own. There's always someone who has encouraged you when you needed it. There's always someone who has supported you along the way. And this card is saying, don't forget those people. Don't get trapped in your ego and thinking that you did all this on your own, right? Don't undervalue anyone in your team, in your corner, on your side. And make sure that they know that they're appreciated. Make sure that they know that you know that you couldn't have done it without them. That's very important. And you definitely want to make sure that you are always doing this throughout your life, because, you know, when people don't feel appreciated, when people don't feel like they're getting their respect and that you're showing gratitude, they might leave your team, you know. So be careful with that. Make sure that you're always doing this. You should be anyways, even without that sort of little warning attached to this, but it never hurts to add that as well. That's a beautiful energy with the tarot cards. I feel like this might even be the last sort of stage of this shadow work energy that I've been talking about for a while now. Especially when I see these cards all together, it's like it is time to fully move past all of this energy, right? With the Fool, you can completely release all of that and start anew and just move into this Six of Wands energy. So that's the cards for the tarot. Let's go ahead and do our Fairy Oracle card now. Now I call out to you, Fairy. Please be present here among us and share your divine insight and wisdom. What further guidance can you give us on releasing, cleansing, and purging, and moving forward from that? Please give us your guidance now. Thank you, and so let it be. I got some tingles when I did that. So let's see, what do we have? Oh, what a witchy card. The Dark Lady. I love that. This is card number 20. And we sort of see this like fairy being here and this sort of lunar goddess being right there at the top. Maybe they're one and the same. Who knows? But I love the symbolism there. The Dark Lady. Keywords: unconscious power and wisdom, rituals, mysteries, and secrets. The Dark Lady is the high priestess of the mysteries. She understands how to surrender to divine power. She has the profound intuitive knowledge that is only to be found by looking deeply into our beings and natures. We find her through meditation and sleep and within inner peace, ecstasy, and total despair. I am writing this at the time of the dark moon, which is her time. So that's an interesting tidbit. She is the guardian of beings unborn, of unconscious ideas, and of seeds sprouting in the dark, cold earth, tender and fragile, and as yet unready to face the bright sun and the winds of spring. She holds the embryonic hopes we have not yet realized we have. The Dark Lady is the mistress of spiritual ritual. The purpose of a ritual is not the power it allegedly has over gods or spirits or fairies, but the very real power it may have over us, putting us into a state of consciousness where we may better connect to our own magic and to otherworld beings. The Dark Lady understands that ritual is something we surrender to and we allow to enfold us rather than something we do or control. And I very much agree with that. You know, our magic and our power comes from our subconscious mind, and we allow it to flow through us when we release our need to control it, right? When we have been through a living cycle, birth and growth with the maiden, nurturing and fulfillment with the bright mother, releasing and letting go with the Lady of the Harvest. It is the Dark Lady who passes with us through the night of endings and death, whether of the body or of the soul or simply of something passing through our lives. It is she who holds and guides us as we reconceive ourselves and prepare to be born anew. In as simple an act as breathing, we see all four of them. Inhaling with the maiden, the moment of fullness with the bright mother, exhaling with the Lady of the Harvest, and the moment of empty, waiting stillness with the Dark Lady. She is there in our very last moments of deepest grief, helping us to move forward to the stillness and peace of the place beyond grief. Our sorrows are transformed within her. She teaches us surrender, walking with us through the valley of the darkest shadow. She is there as we experience the ecstasy of release. Then she guides us back to this reality, renewed and illuminated. From her come those spiritual awakenings that seem to blossom within us out of nowhere. When we travel through the darkness, inner or outer, we learn the strengths of the Dark Lady. So this is a very fitting card to this reading, and especially dealing with the Five of Chalices and letting go of this toxic emotional energy and grief and bitterness that I was discussing, and moving forward with the Fool and the Six of Wands energy. So that was the card's sort of description, but let's go ahead and read the divinatory reading now. We may reach the realm of the Dark Lady through grief, through deep surrender, through ecstasy, or through profound ritual. This card in a reading suggests that it is time to withdraw from the ordinary world to revitalize ourselves through retreat and surrender to the source. This is a time of preparation for rebirth, of restoration and regeneration. What is hidden is getting ready to be revealed. Celebrate this passage through the unknown, rich, fertile, hidden realms of the Dark Lady. This is the time in the natural cycle of life when we open ourselves to and receive the inflowing energies of Himself, which is card 17. It's called Himself. When we become powerful, overflowing with the life force. It may also be a time of prophecy, magic, and foretelling of the potentials of the future. A time of self-awareness, self-knowledge, and encounters with the hidden worlds. Meditate, retreat, seek serenity, and inner peace. So that's the divinatory reading. Very interesting and additive fairy oracle card to the rest of this reading. So meditate on that. Allow the Dark Lady to guide us as we are once again in this transition of energies, moving forward from this darker, heavy emotional time with the Five of Chalices. Letting that go, starting afresh and anew with the Fool, and moving forward into the Six of Wands. So that's basically going to be all for this reading, guys. Hopefully this has helped you in some way. I hope that you have a lovely dark moon and also a lovely week, because, you know, once again, August 10th through 13th is very sacred to the Dark Lady Hecate. So that's a very magical time as well with that energy. We are just coming off of Lammas in the Northern Hemisphere, the first harvest. So we are moving forward into the dark half of the year as well with this energy. I hope that you have a lovely magical time with all of these shifting energies, and I hope that you can find this renewal within yourself as well. If you would like to get in touch with me for a private reading or to join my Patreon or anything like that, all of the information is down below in the description box. Until next time, as always, Hail Hecate, hail to the witches, and blessed be.